the criteria Latifi needs to do to get re-signed, not get last. Oh, Spa's back, and lights out, and away we go. And Lewis Hamilton is halfway to space.
Personally, go IndyCar over Williams.
Yeah, Grosjean Zhu?
Guan Yu
Zhou.
Guan
Yu Zhou. No,
Zhou
Zhou
Guan
Guan
Yu.
Yu. I said that the first time. George was already sitting in that seat.
Look, I don't agree with it, but you've asked a question. I'm trying to find a way to justify
And I'm just
it.
trying to absolutely tear your answer apart. Welcome back.
So, we have just gone back and listened to our predictions episode, our 20 to 1s from the beginning of the year.
Fuck, we're dumb.
We're equally dumb and intelligent in the same ways, because what we were right about, we were incredibly correct about, but what we were wrong about, we were very wrong about. So it's such a mixed bag. When we first started going through the list, we were having a bit of a giggle, started off strong, and then it all kind of fell apart towards the end. Where it gets very controversial is, I think both you and I forgot what we genuinely thought was going to happen this year, because the bottomers of the list are fucked.
Our top, so what would be the top end of every list is fucked. Yep. But the start of it is all pretty accurate. So what we'll do is we'll go through our predictions. We'll say who actually came in that position. And we'll give a rating for that driver. Do you want to start us off? Who do we predict in last place?
Both you and I predicted Logan Sargent.
And actually in last place was Nick DeVries. But
technically.
so technically, because we've only done 20 to 1, Nick has come 22nd on 0 points, and Logan came last on 21st on 1 point.
And Liam Lawson
came 20th on 2 points.
Who's not on our list. So here's my rating for Liam Lawson.
A+.
A+. You be A+.
You came into what we would consider as the second worst car on the grid, and you dominated.
Incredibly well. Did brilliant in front of the camera.
He deserves a seat next year. Let's be real.
Absolutely.
He deserved a seat on the grid next year.
Yep, and the only reason we didn't kick up a stink is because Danny got it. I think if anyone else got that seat above Liam or Danny, we would have kicked a massive stink.
Oh, absolutely.
We just got caught up in the Danny's back.
Yep.
But Liam deserves a fucking drive. Seriously, so good.
And part of his contract is that on 2025, he will have a seat.
Fantastic. Keep an eye out on this kid when he enters the sport. He's going to do something.
Anyway, for Logan, what was your rating? Because he's had a pretty standard rookie season, I'd say.
I'm gonna go a little bit harsh because we already mentioned it earlier, where I said even though the car was bad, it wasn't as bad as it's traditionally been. It was it was still the worst car, but it was still there was opportunities. I'm gonna say for Logan, it's a D for me, simply because when he did make errors, it wasn't we'll put the car on a truck and we'll take it back. It was we need to rebuild this. There was very few errors where it just was like, you cracked the front wing. When it went wrong, he smashed it to pieces.
I wouldn't say smashed it to pieces. I'd say he committed atrocities. But there was no Mick Schumacher-style crash. Do you know what I mean?
Only Australia, I'd say, was his worst.
And there was a busted front wing and a busted suspension.
Yeah, and took some sides off.
Yeah, but it's
doable, but that's fixable.
That's fixable. And considering where Williams has come from, where 3 wings and that was it for the year for 2 cars, it's acceptable. So D-. I'm in a D-.
You in D-? I'm going D?
Yep.
Yep, I'm okay with that. In 19th position, we both went with Nico Hülkenberg.
Well, I'll give you this. We were right for the team. It was K-Mag who came 19th.
Okay. So
3 points.
3 points. So do we want to rate Nico or do we want to rate K-Mag?
We'll rate the driver that actually came there.
Okay. K-Mag?
F.
Harsher than I was going to go. I was going to go D.
F.
So
he is so much more talented than that suggests. That's an F.
I'll accept it. I'm not going to lower mine to match. Very similar argument. But 3 points. Yeah, look, you know what? You actually are kind of convincing me. I'm going to say D-. There's so much more that Matt has to give. The only reason I'm not giving an F is because watching his daughter help him get ready to hop in the car is beautiful to see. Gloves, pull the visor down, get in the car, be absolutely dog shit. Love to see it.
Look, here's my thing. I know the car sucked. You just got rid of it. You literally just closed it. Motherfucker just closed the damn window with all the information I needed.
I kicked the mouse off the table. Think of me what you will.
Fucking hell. Well, thankfully I was able to open it all really quickly.
We
Control
never run
Shift T is the greatest thing ever.
We never run into normal production issues.
It's always dumb issues like
It's
that.
always me just touching things I'm not supposed to.
But no, I'll give him this credit. That Haas was terrible this year.
They
took a
unfortunately, it
step.
really was.
Step backwards. That's what I think is a massive step backwards for them. They've got all this money too, which really surprised me. They got the MoneyGram sponsorship. The car is plastered with sponsors this year. MoneyGram, Chipotle. I thought it was going to be a stronger season for our Haas, and I thought Nico Hulkenberg was the one that was going to struggle. Turns out he's really quick in that car. Over one lap.
Yes, incredibly good at qualifying.
Yes. Their problem, and it's been the problem all year, is that their tyres chew up way too quickly and they are forced to make an early pit stop. And the moment that happens, they're on the back foot.
And that's what I mean. When we look at both Haas and Williams, you have one key issue to fix, which will promote you wonders up the field.
Yep.
It will. We're talking seconds over a race distance. 10, 15 seconds, you're going to cut off your time. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. If they can get the tyres sorted.
Yep.
And on top of that, we've also got Pirelli, who every year fiddles through the compound. So, it's a mixed bag.
Yes.
You don't quite know what you're going to get. I know Pirelli came in a little bit of hot water around Vegas where they were like, hey, this isn't working. They were like, yeah, well, you're racing in the desert in the middle of the night. What did you expect? It's cold.
Yeah.
Because it's a cold.
That's the way this works.
It does. Let's move on to our next ones, because here's where we first started to get a little bit strange.
Yes.
I said Yuki, and you said Lance.
Which, by the way, is where he should finish.
Agreed. Well, no, I would have loved to see him finish 23rd. And
23rd.
Another driver. Another driver.
Felipe did 3 races for him. Unfortunately, it was Zhou Guanyu in the Alfa Romeo, which we both thought was going to be a dark horse this year. We thought it was a fantastic design. Completely wrong.
Absolutely wrong about
This
it.
proves that we know nothing about this sport, because we look at that car, we think, oh, that's edgy, that's cool, that's going to be game changer for him. No, it was the worst car on the grid, let's be real.
Yeah, it was really unfortunate too, because it was one of the nicest looking cars. Like Alfa, the red and black was stunning. The driver lineup is likable. The team is a competitor. You know what I mean? It was a disappointing year.
But for Zhou, how would you rate? Because I've got a pretty harsh rating.
Are you going to go like D or F?
I'm going F.
Yeah, done.
He has given me Giovinazzi vibes now.
I'm going to equal you and go D, where it was just while the car was never that great and you were let down by the car a little bit, Valtteri seemed to be more confident in most areas. It's a write-off year for the team. There's very few positives to take out of it in any way we look at it. So yeah.
I think this is his. I know he signed on for 2024. I can't see them keeping him in the car when Teo's just won the F2 championship, to the point where here's my early prediction for 2024. Sauber does a Red Bull and cuts Zhou after China.
I don't think that's out of the probability. You know what I mean?
You've got Teo sitting in the wings.
And, he's very good, and you're going to want VB to teach him.
You need him in that car. You need him in that car next year.
They've got to start building their racing platform, because they
especially
can
if they're they've got 2025 or 2026 is when Audi takes over, and there's a good chance that driver lineup is changing again. So you need to give Teo a chance.
Yeah, he needs to get in there so the agents know who he is, so we see what results we are. And I think Teo will do quite well. He's a very good racer.
He's a very quick driver.
17th. I went Albon.
What did I go?
You went Yuki. So again, not great.
At least I got the car right.
Yes, who came 17th?
Big Dick himself, who returned to the sport. It was Daniel Ricciardo, and I don't care what the car said. He got an A+ from me because he came back. He returned.
A+.
And he had a big smile on his face, and he never looked as depressed as he did at McLaren.
He looked good.
He looked happy.
And collected some points.
6 points, in fact.
Collected some points, coming into that car. It wasn't great. It did start to get better.
And
looked like he'd never left.
Broke his wrist and was out for a month.
And then straight back into it.
And after the US Grand Prix, he was back in it and he was quick.
Danny.
My hero.
Good. Yeah, we love him. A+. Welcome fucking back, son. Go get him.
16th.
16th. Here's where I did really wrong. I put Nick de Vries.
What did I do?
You put Oscar Piastri.
Oh,
So we both dumb as hell. But to be fair, for context for you, at that point in your life, you did not like that man at all because Danny was gone.
And also, they came out at the start of the year and said, our car will be shit.
And they were right.
They were completely right with the fact that their car was shit. What they didn't anticipate or even announce was that their Austria upgrade was going to transform that car into a potential race winner.
Yeah, it wasn't an upgrade as more of it was a reboot of the whole vehicle because everything changed on it.
And that car just worked.
Do you remember early in the year how they've come out with a shit car, but they've got cool new LED sponsorships, and that actually became like a talking point for a little bit? Still on the car, still sick. McLaren looks fucking great.
Oh, yeah, and they've just announced an extension with Mercedes till like 2028.
Hell yeah.
I think that's the perfect engine for them. When I first started watching the sport back in the years of 2001, 2002, back when I was a wee lad, not anymore, it was McLaren Mercedes, and it was the best car to look at, the best car to watch, and they had the best drivers. Say what you will about Coulthard. I liked Coulthard.
Man can drive.
Man could drive. He was never a world championship contender, but he was always there, and he always presented himself. I'm not going to say well, because there were instances, but I liked watching David Coulthard race. And they also had Kimi. And we both know what I think about Kimi Räikkönen.
Yeah, and before Kimi, they had Mika as well, didn't they?
Yeah, it was Mika Hakkinen.
Who again,
he could
still
be back.
might return.
It's only a sabbatical, man. He's
Having a break.
But yeah, 16th. Oh, is that where we're up to?
Yeah, I said Nick, you said Piastri.
Yeah, actually, it was Nico Hülkenberg.
I'm going to say D or C.
D.
1 lap qualifying pace was all he kind of bought, but that was all the team bought the whole year, really.
Yeah, it was 1 lap pace. The car was the letdown at Haas. Unlike K-Mag, Nico had no expectations from me. He was coming back after, 3 years?
Yep.
He's only driving a shitty Aston prior to this, and, I mean, the car he drove was garbage.
Very much so.
So him coming in, having that 1 lap place excited me, and then obviously the tyre issues with the Haas dropped him down the grid. Disappointing, but you know what? He's back next year. Same car, same team. It's the first time in history F1 is going to go into 2 seasons in a row with the same driver pairings.
Which is, honestly, a net positive kind of.
Actually, no, I should say it, correct it. What they finished on is what they start with.
Yeah, it's not the first week's driver's lineup, but it's the finishing week's driver's lineup. And you know what? 1 lap pace, though, is a good sign because
it's a very good sign for the Haas.
Haas didn't even have that. Now they know that, hey, if we can figure out this tyre overheating issue, Nico's a good driver. If you can get yourself in 8th, 7th, 6th, even like a wrongy 4 every now and then when he just nails it, if we can give you a car that means you can actually defend and stay and you drop back, because you're probably not going to stay right where you are, but if you drop back 1 or 2 places and are starting to get 1 to 2 points every week, that is the best season Haas will ever have. They'll be on fire.
1 to 2 points every week is a massive difference between fuck all prize money and a decent amount of prize money too in this sport. So you got to remember, you get the prize money and it's also win testing time. And there was a few teams towards the end of the season, I was like, are they going to sandbag and forego the 10 million that they get for finishing higher and get more R&D time? But I genuinely thought that was a potential thing to happen. It didn't happen.
No, it turned out everybody raced right to the end, which is lovely to see. Like, no one started playing games. Everyone, I think once Max came out first 5 weeks, everyone just kind of went, well, hold on, let's see how far we can push ourselves regardless of them.
Yeah.
And I think if it was a more competitive season, we would have seen a little bit of sandbagging gamesmanship towards the end. But right at the end, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 5th, 6th still all had to be figured out. So there was a lot left on the table. And you know,
even AlphaTauri was still racing for points by the end. Like that, if they could have got, I think it was like 4 or 5, 2 or 3 more points actually in the last race, they would have jumped the place.
Yep, it was really, when you break it down, even though it was a 5 overall, the season still ended with a lot left on the table, which did make it enjoyable to get through the end.
I will admit that I turned off Abu Dhabi after lap 40.
Which is fair enough, man, because it's at
it
a
was
horrible time.
Yeah,
it was done.
I didn't watch it the next day. It was 1:30 in the fucking morning.
Yeah, which is also fair enough. So after that, we then jump on to 15th.
Who did you have?
I said Lance Stroll. And you said Alex Albon.
Realistically, It was VB. D. I'm giving him a D.
VB, I'm going to go C.
Actually, you know what? D plus, because it wasn't his fault. He was so shit.
Exactly. He was still his consistent self.
At just consistently 15th, 16th.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the problem. Like, Joe was more sporadic, but VB was like, I can get this car reliably a little bit up the grid, and that's what he did every single week.
He got 10 points overall, which is significantly higher than his teammate, who got 6.
Yep.
And in my book, 4 points is make or break.
Especially when you're at the low end, when you are fighting for 1 to 2 points, right?
Yes.
So if you got 4 points by finishing in the points 4 more times, that's significant.
Way more significant than what it could have been.
Yeah, like the gap that Max had to do is impressive by the numbers, but it also doesn't really show competitiveness. It shows a lack of competitiveness.
Yeah, I agree.
Where down the bottom where it's like, 4 points and you're scraping and screaming every race for 1 to 2 and you got an extra 4, well done. C for me.
C, I'm giving him a D plus, purely car and consistently not in a good place.
Yep, that's fine, man. It's not.
I think I'm being a more harsh critic this year.
But
I think that's deserved.
Yes, and I'm okay with it too because it's not an unfair, harsh criticism. You're just going like, no, the team's getting an equal smack on the wrist for this.
And when we go through the teams, I'm going to be very harsh on the teams as well.
That's fine.
Okay.
Do we want to move to our next one?
I do want to move on to the next one. 14.
I had Joe.
Okay.
And you had Nick De Vries. So let's talk about Nick De Vries.
Before we go on that.
Oh, wait. Who actually got it?
I got the team right again because it was Yuki. I'm calling it. If I get the team right, that's me. That's
okay
on me.
that, man. You, because it's good. Well, you know what I mean. The probability is still difficult to get, so it is
I'll take
more
the team
impressive.
I'll take the team in the right position. So Nick.
Now, when Nick came in with an incredible resume, no one can deny his career up until joining F1, including his first race, which was also very impressive in F1 last year.
Yeah, it was very impressive, and it was the reason Helmet got him into the program.
Yep. Unfortunately, he didn't capitalize on anything.
I think 50-50 here. So the car was clearly at the start of the year the worst car on the grid.
Without a doubt.
It got a little bit better, but a little bit better in Formula One is still pretty bad. So on that aspect, I can't fault Nick. What I can fault Nick on is he had opportunities, and every single one of them he shit the bed.
And that's what I mean. It was like you came in with the perfect pedigree and a decent enough-ish opportunity. No one was expecting a win, but we were expecting to go, holy crap, Yuki actually sucks compared to this person. Like, that's what we were thinking.
That's what we thought. And when we listened to our things, both of us were talking really highly of Nick because he had that pedigree of a Formula E double champion, Formula 2 world champion. He was Formula 3 champion too, I want to say.
Yes, I think so. The only thing that separated him from Max and Oscar's one is they won an F4 Euro Championship as well on the trot. That's what separates those two in their junior careers. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he just didn't. So my overall rating for Nick is F for fired.
Yeah, F for fired.
Because if you get fired, it's not a fucking good year for you.
No.
It's very bad.
But I will give Nick this credit. He took it on the chin. He took a sabbatical from racing. He went to Harvard for a little bit to do some business management. And he's coming back. I think he's in the Enduro next year.
And it goes to show what happens when you are in your late 20s. He got hit with some really bad news. It was sobering and humbling. And he went, okay. Same thing that happened with Latifi. Went, okay.
And Latifi, I mean, I don't know if he's racing anymore, but he's gone back to school.
And that's the thing. They're both, because Latifi was a little bit older when he came in as well. He's in his mid-20s. Most people come in at like 18, 19, 20.
Yeah, exactly.
These guys, Nick was 28 when he came into the sport. And I want to say, what's his name? Latifi was like 24, 25.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because I watched him and Joe for like 4 years straight in F2 together. They raced brilliantly together, and they were always fighting near the front. But they were never champions, which shows, right? However, I'm glad that Nick's just out there doing good things because there's nothing negative to say about him as a person, is there?
No, there's not.
He's a good dude.
And I'll give him this. I think it was 2 weeks after he got fired, he was hanging out with Max again. You know what I mean? Like, it looks like there was no ill will. It was just he was a factor of circumstance.
Factor of circumstance and a factor of, hey, it turns out You are one of the best drivers in the world, but you are not one of the
20 best drivers.
19 best drivers
Thank
in the
you.
world.
Yeah,
I gotcha.
You
We're
got
even
me
now.
finally.
Okay.
But Yuki, though, I'm giving Yuki a B+.
I'm giving Yuki a B+ as well.
Because I did not rate this kid at the start of the season. I rate him now. He is matured, and he's going to look really good in Lance Stroll's seat next year.
Actually,
no, 2025, I should say, because Liam will take his seat.
Yep. Yuki, I tell you what Yuki has done is very, very impressive.
Oh, absolutely.
He is a middling driver in a Red Bull that didn't get fucking executed by the helmet inquisition of not performing. He's the only... But think about it, man. Gasly is a better driver than Yuki.
Yep.
Take him down.
Well, no, I don't say that. He got an opportunity at Alpine and he took it because he knew he could never go back to Red Bull.
Yep, fair enough. But you know what I mean? You were put on the you're not coming back, but
Yep.
we're happy to use you for what you got. He's one. Albon, I would say, is a more talented driver than Yuki. Same deal. Even though he's still under the umbrella, but you know what I mean?
No, he's fully severed.
He's out now.
Severed because when the Checo rumours came up mid-year, one of the names put forward was Alex, and Alex got asked by Red Bull, hey, would you consider coming back? Alex said, no, I'm pretty comfortable where I am right now.
I'm actually having a good time.
I respect Alex for that because even though he's in a shit teams can move forward. That team is positioned to move forward with James Vowles, with the team that he's putting in there, and Alex is putting in. Let's talk about Alex when we get to Alex.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying?
Let's talk about Yuki.
Yuki's managed to dodge that battle axe every step of the way by being an objectively worse performer than better people who've been given the flick. And the most impressive bit is he's now managed to earn his place successfully. Like, he's unique when it comes to how that team operates.
And also, when the rumours about Checo came out, Yuki's name for the first time ever was thrown into that argument of, do we bring up Yuki? Do we bring up Daniel? Like, the fact that Yuki's name was mentioned in that was shocking to me. But also, I was like, you know what? If it went to Yuki and Daniel came back at AlphaTauri, I wouldn't be mad.
Yep.
I wouldn't be mad because part of me doesn't want Daniel to go to Red Bull if he's going to be second fiddle to Max. But that's just the fan in me.
Yeah, that's the being Aussies.
Yeah, that's us being Aussies and loving Daniel. But I would absolutely still take Daniel in the Red Bull any day of the week.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, no, Yuki, this is the best year you've ever had in the sport. We're big fans for next year, I'd say.
Yeah, and taking that car as well from shithouse to consistently finishing 9th, 10th.
Yeah, points getter.
And 11th. I know Daniel was also in that 11th, 12th, 13th, not pushing it as high as Yuki, but Yuki's had 2 extra years in that car.
Yep, in the system, doing all those things,
Watch Daniel next year because Daniel's now focused and it'll be a lot closer next year between him and Yuki. Guarantee.
Oh, and also, just as a team principle, you want both your drivers to be right near each other. And the fact that they were both right near each other as soon as they started working together, even with Liam was bang on right there. They're doing well. I mean, just pick a fucking name and move on.
Shout out to Pierre Hamlin, the race engineer for Daniel, because I haven't heard him. I didn't hear him that excited for the first few races. He was just, oh, yeah, all good. Yeah, come on. Daniel gets in the car. Daniel looks excited. He's learning with the team as well, and Pierre sounded happier. And that man can get really happy, citing Brazil 2021 when Pierre won the race. Those things. Those were so good.
Man, I genuinely, this is off topic, but every time Pierre's on the podium, it's always some of the most emotional shit that happens that year. There was the time he got up there after Antoine passed.
Mm-hmm. And he won the race.
Yep. And we were both in tears. There's
That's to the point where it's on my phone case.
You've got the photo of him sitting on the podium. Like, every time that man steps on the podium, it is just massive celebration.
I'm a massive Pierre Gasly fan. Full
Same.
stop. I love Pierre Gasly. If he ever got a chance in the top team, I'd full on buy the Pierre shirt. I'd be like, yeah, fuck yeah, Pierre.
Go Pierre. And here's the thing. This is how much I like him. Anyone who listens to this knows the shit we've said about France in general, and we're like, we love this dude. He's the best.
Yes.
Let's move on. So,
13th. Who did we have in 13th?
Let me do some counting.
We probably should have numbered it.
I did at the top. I wrote 20, and then I just drew an arrow down. What do we look for? 13th?
13th.
20. I had Piastri.
Okay. What did I
You
have?
had K-Mag.
Well, both wrong
We were both wrong.
because it was Alex Albon. So now let's talk about Alex because I think Alex, A for Alex.
Yep. Bro,
I'm happy for him.
me too.
I'm so happy for. He's one of your favorites.
Always has been. Always has been. And I'll just keep hammering on this point. It's nice to see good people and good personalities in the sport be happy doing cool shit.
Did you see the photo shoot before Abu Dhabi though?
No, not at all.
His girlfriend did a photo shoot, all McLaren gear, and Williams' Instagram team was like, "Really?" No, it was just really ... No,
I didn't say that. That's gold. A for Alex. Love him.
Hey, for Alex, love him. He's doing
Come
good.
on, Williams. The next person I want to see in a podium in a Williams is Alex Albon. Third, second, even a race win. But you know what? Probably not. But can you imagine the celebration?
Despite what happened at Spa a few years ago, who was the last person to get a genuine podium in a Williams?
Now, it is either... I've got three options I can pick.
Okay.
In my head. It's either Stroll VB or... Is it... it's not Pasta, is it?
No.
No. Who was it?
You've said the name.
I'm going to go Stroll.
It was Stroll.
Yep.
Monza in the wet. Where the myth of him being good in the wet.
Yeah, you one good race in the fucking wet.
Two good qualifyings in the wet.
Yeah,
Fuck off.
Yeah, where you were by yourself on the track, bro.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I really want to see them get a podium. I want to see it for James more than I want to see it for Alex.
Valid, because we love James as well.
Purely because I just want to see that validation for him. He took a chance leaving the Mercedes safety net.
Yep.
And I just want to see him succeed because I don't think there'll be a happier person for him than Toto Wolff. In fact, if they do get on the podium, they should have a camera follow Toto because I guarantee Toto will go find him and shake his hand.
Without a doubt. As much as we love hanging shit on most of the team principals, at the end of the day, they're pretty valued men.
They are valued men, and
After teams.
Yeah. I just remembered then though.
So I think that's fantastic. After that though,
12th.
we both had the same pick. Lando.
We're a bit wrong with that one too.
We were, however, I'm not going to feel bad about it because the logic we used, which was McLaren said their car's going to be crap, they're focusing on 2024.
Yep.
And we just went, why would they lie to us? I don't think they knew how good their upper grid was going to be.
No, they were genuinely shocked as well. I think they thought they'd move up the grid. I don't think they thought they'd move that far up the
They're
grid.
like, holy crap, we are getting podiums. We can actually do really well this year. But yeah, Lando, I'm going to give him an A. I really
Why are
can't...
you... We're not rating Lando yet.
What are we rating?
We're rating 12th, genuinely.
Oh,
Which was
who got genuine?
Ocon.
Oh,
F
yeah.
for France.
France.
No, seriously, C minus.
C.
Yeah.
C.
He had the most retirements this year.
8?
8 technically 8. 1 was classified because it happened.
So
right.
7.5.
7.5, and it was when they both crashed out.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, Pierre got him in that too.
I think the best way to sum up Ocon, and I don't want this to be a disrespectful thing, but he's a journeyman of the sport. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You are there. You have enough skill and talent to do your job. You're not incredible. For some reason, though, every now and then you fucking win one and throw a spanner in the works.
He's won 1.
Yeah.
And it was
massive.
Do you know who actually won that? Fernando.
Yes. Absolutely, because he just drove the train all day.
Yeah.
Just
Choo,
wrong
choo,
carriage.
choo, 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 choo.
But for Ocon, I think the best way to describe him is in the wise words of that Red Bull engineer who's like, sometimes I just forget he's there.
Yep.
What was the race this year where I literally messaged you? I was like, dude, or was it Lance? About Lance. It was about one of the drivers. I was like, did Lance not start? And you're like, dude, he crashed yesterday. And I was like,
No, it was on the formation lap. He
yeah, right. And
start.
it took me to like lap 40 and I was like, I didn't even fucking realize he wasn't in the race.
Actually, no, that was Singapore when Lance crashed in qualifying.
There
Sorry?
you go. Yeah. So
and
it was about
like,
Lance.
dude, he crashed in Q1.
I was like, really?
And
missed that.
funnily enough, he wasn't improving his time. He was
crashed
still
on a worse lap.
He crashed on a worse lap. He was a second down. He was not improving his lap, and he fucked it out of the last corner.
But even though that was about Lance, is my genuine weekend of Ocon. Every now and then it pops up, and I'm like, there you are, you motherfucker. I see you there. Don't you crash into Pierre again. Let's move on.
11th.
I went K-Mag.
Yep.
And you went Zhou. So as you can see...
You're not as dumb as me.
Well, as I said, what we were right about we were right about. But what we were wrong about, we were very wrong about.
Yeah, just fucking hell, man.
Who was the actual?
The actual was the man we both love. It was Pierre. He proved he's the number one driver at Alpine by 4 points.
4 points. Your rating for Pierre is the same as my rating is Pierre.
A. Because he came into Alpine and he showed up Ocon.
And fuck yeah, Pierre. Like, if you're listening to this and you don't like Pierre,
what's wrong with you?
find another show. No, don't.
Please stay.
But like, just turn it down a little bit. Leave him running in the background.
We love Pierre. He did good. Obviously it was a rocky start to the year.
Very much so, but to be expected.
Yeah, but once he gelled with that car, he was very quick in it. And the only things that let him down were like the things that let Ferrari down. It was team. Because there was multiple times towards the end of the season where Ocon got the preferred strategy, even though he was in the arse end of the grid. And if Pierre had got those right calls at the right time, I guarantee you Pierre's got another 10, 15 points.
Easily. I'm with you on the same there. I hope Alpine sits down and has a really good look at the year, looks at both drivers and they just go, you know what? As much as you've got tenure, Ocon, as much as you do have the right to be first, results-wise, it's Pierre. We're actually going to prioritise him for the next year.
It has
if
to be.
anything changes. If you do it and it's the same results, then you know what? You can do whatever you like after that. But if you do change it and your results improve, lesson learned, move on.
Yes. Let out Ocon's contract run out next year. 10th.
I said VB.
I said Ocon.
You said Ocon.
It was actually Vitch Tits himself, Lance Stroll, on 74 points. And that's very important here. 74 points in an Aston.
Yes, which will become relevant when we get to the next Aston.
Yes.
74 points. Okay.
Seriously, I'm giving him a D. Because that car was a lot better at the start of the year and he was nowhere. In fact, no, F. Fuck him.
Yeah.
F for fuck him. Because was it this year that he had the broken wrist?
Start of this year, yeah.
Yeah, so he started, he got 5th and then he was nowhere in Saudi Arabia and then he just dropped off and there was multiple races he wasn't even close to getting points. Multiple Q1 exits when at one point Fernando was the only driver to hit Q3 every race.
Yep, motherfucker had a DNF or has binned it on formation laps.
No, that was
in the past.
Yes. He's binned it in the wet on a formation lap midway through the race at Monaco. Was that? No, that was last year.
That was last year, but
because
again,
it was Latifi in the race as well.
Who also
at the same point.
Yeah. Great race, by the way, last year.
Monaco's race last year was fantastic. Monaco's race this year, even more fantastic, actually.
Very fantastic.
One of my favourites.
But yes, D. Look, F for fucking.
I'm giving him fuck him. He's a fucking shit driver. The moment his dad is like, fuck off.
Better for the sport. Didn't capitalise. And when we talk about Fernando, you will see
why he didn't capitalise. So just remember that 74.
74 points. We will get more in depth into that. Then
9th.
Which we just did opposites. I went Ocon, you went VB.
And it is purely because I like VB more and I can't.
I believe your quote was because I will never put Ocon in front of VB. It wasn't even like, it was like, I don't like him. It was like, I'm going to make, this is an oath. It was sacrosanct what you said.
I do not like Ocon. I'm not going to hide that. But I can respect his ability to be in the top 19 drivers. Is that fair?
That's fair.
I don't like
in fact, that might be the nicest thing you've ever fucking said about it.
And it'll never be said again.
Nicest thing you've ever said. Who actually?
The Melbourne boy himself, Oscar Piastri, came 9th.
Okay, so rookie season.
Oh, this is an A+.
A+.
Because this is the best rookie season since Lewis and a McLaren.
And equaled him, wasn't it?
No.
Lewis got more podiums.
Lewis nearly won the championship.
Right. So this is, it's the second best rookie season we've had on podiums got.
No, not podiums. I'm just thinking in general.
Oh, in general, yeah.
Because points-wise, he got 97. The Lewis one is a freak rookie season because what he did was unmatched. Like, he was challenging for the championship up until the last race of that season, and it was only because he binned it going into the pits at China and couldn't get started again that he fell out of that race. And then he won it the next bloody year anyway.
And then kept doing that shit for a good while.
Yeah.
I'm saying A+ for Oscar. You've come into the sport with an incredible pedigree. You
started the year in the worst car on the grid.
Yep.
You finished the year in the second best car.
Yep. And at every step of the way, when the car was shit, you were close to Lando. And when the car got better,
You were closer.
closer. You know what I mean? Like, you would expect that both drivers are relatively close in a dog crap car. When it starts to improve, like we normally see, one driver will start to gap the other because they've got a more natural talent. Oscar sat right there and even outperformed Lando, who is brilliant.
Yes.
In a car. A+. That kid,
And
he's going to be our next world
sprint
champion.
pole. Sprint pole.
Sprint win. Did he win a sprint? No, he got a podium in the sprint.
He got
as
the
well.
podium in
Got
the
a
sprint
podium in
because
the
Max got ahead of him. But more to the point, sprint pole. Lando didn't do that.
And what we are seeing with Oscar when he is at that pointy end is he races very well against Max.
He races very well against everyone. I have not seen him race in poor taste with anyone. Oh, yeah, the rain.
Sounds great through the headphones. Hey,
Yeah.
yeah, A+ for Oscar. You absolutely lived up and exceeded expectations.
You turn my opinion of you around, and only...
And as someone who's known you for nearly a decade, that's the first time that's ever happened.
I'm a very stubborn man.
Let's continue to move on. 8th.
Who picked it? What did we pick?
We both picked Fernando Alonso.
Do you know who actually got it?
No.
You can't tell from this reaction how shit this person is?
I can't remember who we've already spoken about, Andy. Who is it?
Osama bin Russell came 8th in a Mercedes.
And I quote, Mercedes don't come 8th or 9th or whatever the fuck you said.
Mercedes don't come 9th.
Yeah. Look, as much as I dislike him, I'm going to give George a C for the year overall.
C for cunt.
Yeah. We'll square that. Yeah, absolutely. C for I wear sandals and socks.
C for I like a nice latte.
Oh, bro. Look, I can't stand him. Dude's got talent. I think his ambition got away from him this year. I think the attitude escaped him as well.
I can't stand his attitude. To the point where I refuse to refer to him as anything other than some stupid nickname that a guy with a mohawk came up with.
I still think it's I would say performance-wise, it's one of his worst years of consistency in the sport. At Williams...
Oh, he was Mr. Consistency, Mr. Saturday.
And
Shut up, Crofty.
As annoying as it was, dude put in the performances really well for that Williams team when he was there every race. It was very, very rare we had a bad Williams-George race.
He was humbled at Williams.
Yeah.
He became arrogant at Mercedes.
And
it's not a good arrogant.
Yes, and because our opinion on attitude will always be the same, which is you can have whatever attitude you like if you earn it.
He hasn't.
That's why there's infinite respect for Kimi while there's zero respect for Stroll. They both appear very similar in the media. Boring, blasé, underhanded. But Kimi earned his right to be that way. Because Stroll didn't.
And Kimi, there were points in Kimi's career where Kimi would sit with the mechanics and that would be what he talked about. Sure, he did cool things like he crashed at Monaco and instead of going back to the team bay, went and started drinking piss on his yacht.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fucking fantastic in my book.
Absolutely, but he genuinely cared for his team and just didn't care for the media.
Yeah, and which is fair enough.
Yeah. And with George, we're seeing
arrogance.
An arrogance of like where it... And I know Max had it too.
Entitled. He feels entitled.
I was just going to say, he's acting like he's fighting for his second championship and he's being let down by the team that he hasn't got his second. I don't think he's aware that he hasn't won it yet. You know what I mean? It's almost like
he feels like because he's walked into Mercedes, who was so dominant, and they were, I'll give them credit, they were so dominant between 2014 to 2021. Even the point where they didn't win it that year.
They nearly fucking won it. Yeah,
they nearly fucking won it.
One point.
In that time, that was when Mercedes had earned the right to be arrogant, and I'd pass it. 2022, car's dog shit. Best part about that whole season of Drive to Survive is, man, I looked at the car and I thought, fuck, that was quick. Cut to Daniel and Max. Best meme out there.
I still think, and it's kind of cruel, the very first time George scored points. That's
even because it's still Daniel and Max.
Still Danny and Max in the background.
Pissing himself.
In McLaren doing fuck all work, laughing their asses off at him. Which is also, it's kind of brutal. it was very nice to see George get his first points. We all celebrated back then, but holy shit, that's one of the best clips of all time.
That's so funny.
Is the two jokers of the sport pissing themselves about. I guess it was also kind of acceptable. Like, you got 1 point, bro.
Fucking 1 point in a Williams.
1 point in a Williams. You know, Williams is like 7 world championships, right, bro? They're a good team when they're up there. So,
what did we rate him?
I said C.
Yeah, C. But there is a lot more potential in George, and if he drops the attitude and works with the team, I think I'd like him again.
Me too, because Mercedes is such a good team. They're
Yes.
one of the best teams that have ever existed. They work so well when everyone's doing what they're supposed to. And I think George is just trying to flex out of it a little bit. I hope he's learned the lesson, like with Lando with the It's Broken and,
That was good.
and Russia, right? He came back the next year and kind of went, you know what? I am very, very good at this, but that's also why I have 18 people watching everything I'm doing to make sure I can be better. If he brings that, I'll forgive him a little bit, but yeah, no, I can't stand him.
I can't stand him.
Let's move on.
Okay, 7th.
7th, we both put Pierre Gasly.
Okay, we were a bit off. 7th was Carlos.
I don't know how to rate Carlos this year. Last year, he made a lot of errors.
I know how to rate him this year.
Please help me.
Carlos, once again, he was let down by the team. The Ferrari wasn't as good as expected with what Ferrari came out with last year. I'm eating crow on that because I said Charles was going to win it and he doesn't. Doesn't even come close. But Carlos was consistent. Carlos put the team first. And Carlos also said to the team, no, I'm not doing this, when they gave him a bad strategy call, to the point where he was at Singapore demanding to know how far is Lando away from me, and constantly giving Lando that DRS to keep the Mercedes of George behind him, forcing George to create an error on the last lap, which then meant Lewis had a chance, but Lewis was too far behind and Carlos cruised to victory over Lando. One of the best drives I've ever seen Carlos do, because he big-brained it, said, no, if I do this, I can maintain this, I can be the only car to win that's not a Red Bull this year.
I have my rating.
I'm giving him an A-.
I'm giving him an A, flat.
Yeah, I'm giving him an A- because there were points where he made mistakes, but that drive in Singapore turned me on Carlos, be like, no, I think Carlos can win the World Championship if he's given the car.
I think so too. That man
He has talent. He has a brain. He drives like Fernando.
Yes, he thinks like Fernando too, where he's gone, you know what? I can't rely on my team or the pace of this car to get the result, so I have to manipulate everything in my control. And he's developed and worked himself to a racing brain where he can do that.
Also, the next race at Japan, George tried to pull the same shit with Mercedes. They said, ha, lol, bro, no. And then George was left out to dry.
Oh, you must be colorblind, bro. This car is black, not red. See you next week, motherfucker.
Big brain. Carlos will win the World Championship if he gets the car.
And you know what? I would be so happy to see Carlos get a World Championship. He's just such a good dude.
And I would really like to see his dad be there for him, because I think that would be the crowning achievement. Carlos Sainz Sr. had such a great rally career.
And he's still racing today in Extreme E. Like, they call him the Bull in Spain. Like, his nickname is the Bull. Carlos Sainz's dad, if you've never kind of run into him, is a WRC rally championship. Everything he touches, like, he doesn't race on tarmac often because he doesn't need it. Yes. He's a freak.
But I think if his son wins the World Championship in Formula One, he would be like Jos and say that's his crowning achievement in racing, because I think that is just unreal for him.
Oh, can you just imagine? Like, we are not parents, but a lot of our friends have recently become parents, and watching our friends turn into like devoted fathers, absolutely love the life transitions. Like, you know, it was harder for me to understand how could that be a crowning achievement until I've watched some of the people I really care about become dads and watch just that dedication. I'll never forget, because my brother became a dad at the start of the year. He called me on the way home from the hospital. COVID times, he wasn't allowed to stay, so he had to come home. And I was going, how's it feel, man? Like, what's the first thought you had? He goes, you are my best friend. You know, I love you. I'd do anything for you. But he goes, if at any opportunity I had to pick between you and my daughter, I am throwing you under the bus every opportunity I get. And I went, fantastic. That's exactly how you're supposed to feel.
Exactly.
And yeah, watching either Checo's dad or Carlos's dad watch their children go on to achieve world glory.
And Carlos' second dad, Fernando.
Oh, and we saw some good racing between those two guys this year.
They've
were
always
great.
raced well together.
They're fantastic. I think it's fantastic. I hope Ferrari, and I think Ferrari will do pretty well enough to put them in a decent enough position to compete again. Do I think it's going to be a dead heat? No. However, I think Ferrari and their drivers together have a better opportunity to take the fight to them because Carlos is very, very smart.
He is. And I just wish that there was inter-race communication between Charles and Carlos allowed. Because I think that's the only way Ferrari can get wins, is if those two talk to each other.
You know what? Yeah, pretty much. All we want your strategists to do is hit radio on and then shut the fuck up and let them talk about it.
And figure it out. They'll figure it out. But let's go to 6th.
Let's go to 6. I had Carlos.
Yep.
And you had Pierre. No, sorry, you had Checo.
We're both wrong. It's Lando by 5 points because Carlos got 200. He got 205. Unreal from Lando. Start of the year, he would have got an F, but goddamn, it's an A right now.
A right now. Absolutely can't fold him.
Can't fold him, and even the mistake in Las Vegas, it was not his fault.
Not his fault. The car broke.
Yeah.
It was a massive incident. Like, as much as I was joking and stirring shit, I knew he was okay. I checked that first before I started in the group chat. I was like, oh, fuck.
Did go to hospital.
He did for a checkup. But
he was fine, which is the main thing, and honestly, it was the most exciting part about the Las Vegas race.
Yeah, it was
a good crash.
It was a fantastic crash.
You know what the craziest part was? They cut to the camera 3 seconds after the crash had happened. And fucking Crofty's like, oh, I think there's been an incident there. And it took him another 15 seconds to find a camera with the incident on it. And then they cut to a replay, and you can see the car go past on that camera. And you're like, it was literally 2 seconds too late cutting to that camera. You would have seen
it perfectly.
Yeah. He's turned that car around. He was consistently scoring podiums by the end of the season. He took it to Max a few times, which unheard of this season.
He's been a good teammate.
Great teammate.
Very good teammate.
He worked with Oscar when Oscar was ahead of him. He didn't try and on his way ahead of him.
No, he really did. It just seemed that, like, I think Lando has hit that point where he's matured enough and has also proven that he's going to stay in the sport. You know what I mean? Those first couple of years, you have to prove every single weekend. He's earned a spot until he's done now with what he can do.
There's no way he's not in the sport.
No, I think Lando did absolutely fantastic this year. I hate you. Well done.
5th.
I said Sergio.
Yep.
And you said Carlos.
Both wrong. At least I got the car right because it was Charles. There's been a lot of that. I've got the car's positioning right.
I tell you what, you were very close to being half right about everything today.
1 point in it. He got 206 points. Lando got 205.
Again, so it's a difficult same reasoning that I used for Carlos. I don't exactly know how to rate Charles this year because he was less emotional.
B. I can rate him a B.
I can happily give B as well. I don't.
He has so much potential. The team lets him down, but he lets himself down as well. He's not as big brain driving as Carlos, which is why he's a B. He does think strategically about how his positioning is. He's just not as good at it. That's why it's a B.
And do you know what the only reason why he's not at that level with Carlos yet? Experience, time spent. Carlos has been in the sport another 4 or 5 years.
Also, he got a DNS this year. Was his hydraulics braking, but he did get a DNS.
And they are very rare. Very rare now. Back in the day, fucking 15 cars used to just blow up before they started.
There was 2 DNSs this year. It's Charles and Yuki. And Yuki's was at Monza.
And what happened to Yuki?
His engine blew on the fucking
That's
outlap.
right, yeah. It just exploded and shredded itself. So, yeah, I'll give Charles a B. I think, it's the team has to fix itself first before he can get that true level of comfort and confidence back. Yeah. That's the thing. He's sitting in a car that he doesn't trust. He's on the radio to people he can't trust and rely on. The only person he relies and trusts, he can't speak to during the race. Which
exactly.
So I think your idea of inter-driver comms, I actually don't, overall looking at the sport, as long as everyone can do it, I don't see a problem with it.
As long as it's only inter-team and It's very short. So,
Either that or proximity chat. That'd be fucking hilarious.
oh, proximity chat would be so good.
It's just Fernando and people yelling at me. I'd be like, no hablo English.
Fucking
No
would
hablo.
say.
No hablo. Just on the red, no hablo.
It'd fucking add to Sky for Sports F1. Could you imagine?
Honestly, give Brundle a mic. Let Brundle just talk to the drivers as they're driving. There's your broadcast. Done. And let the drivers with proximity chat. Have that pop up.
You know what? Under safety car conditions, I'd accept the team talking to drivers because I did it in supercars and it's pretty good. And they don't overstay their welcome. They're only there for a minute.
Yeah. I don't see an issue with it because you are only talking strategy, which you're allowed to do.
I can see the issues with it.
What would you foresee?
It would be certain questions being asked if the team's trying to get in contact with them about something urgently. Like that, those are the things that make me don't want
almost
it.
kind of like reading signs in baseball where it's like you're not objectively doing something wrong, but you're also abusing the system for your own benefit.
Which you can notice when they go down and cut to the team principals, for example. You can see that they want to say something, but they can't say something, and they're very limited. Also, the drivers are very heated. Potentially, if an incident's happened and Martin's like, so what do you think of the incident? And they say something fucking wrong.
True, because everything ends up in a court case with F1 as well.
Exactly. So, proximity chat, fuck yeah, that's fucking hilarious.
It would be
after
hilarious.
lap 5, turn it on.
No, just turn it on for the first corner.
Oh, fuck no, that'd be so bad. Everyone just hears Fernando, get the fuck out of my way.
They're good. Let's keep going with this, my friend. We are nearly done.
We are so close.
Next, we're going to third.
No, we're on 4th.
We're on fourth. That's right. Yeah, I read this wrong. We're on 4th. I said Sergio Perez.
Yes.
And you said Carlos Sainz.
Yes.
So again, it was another rotation for us.
This is where we have the moment. Because in 4th, also on 206 points, was Fernando Alonso. Remember how we said Lance Stroll only had 74 points. The team was carried by Fernando Alonso this year. Big brain Alonso, A.
Alonso, A. And I don't think he will ever have a season in F1 that we don't class as an A. Even that McLaren year where he just blew the team to pieces, still A. Because no one's destroyed a team like that ever before. That was incredible destruction of an entire racing outfit. Well done.
Well, after that, Ron Dennis never had a job in Formula 1 again.
Yeah, and McLaren has only just gotten good again. And this was, 2016 when that happened? Yeah. Nearly 10 years.
Yeah. But this is where the disparity comes in because Lance only getting 74 points. Imagine if Aston had 2 drivers scoring the same similar points like all these other ones did.
Imagine if there was a 50-point gap instead of a 150-point gap.
Exactly. Like all of a sudden, Aston's probably 3rd in the championship. They're getting a lot more money. They're allowed to invest more. And this is why everyone says the window licker himself should not be in the sport.
He has to go.
He has to go. Like there's no
the numbers don't lie anymore.
And they spell disaster for Lance Stroll at sacrifice. Have you ever seen that meme? No. There's a wrestling promo of Scott Steiner and he's going through this math. This is a sidetrack, but it's very funny. He's like, everyone knows that when you verse Scott Steiner, you have a 50% chance at winning at best. No, when you're versing anyone in a wrestling match one-on-one, 50% chance. But Scott Steiner is a genetic freak. So you only have a 33 1/3 chance of winning.
Repeating, of course.
Of course. So you have to take... And then it's a triple threat match at Sacrifice. The pay-per-view is called Sacrifice. So Samoa Joe knows he can't win. So Kurt Angle needs to just accept that. Then you take... And in whatever it is, I think he only has a 25% chance of winning. So you take Scott Steiner's normal 66 2/3 chance, and you add it to his 50% chance of winning in the triple threat, and the numbers add up to like 141 1/3% chance at winning. And the numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for you at sacrifice because he can't say sacrifice; he says sacrifice. And the interviewer just stands there like, just dumbfounded. Years later, it comes out they had to do 2 takes.
What?
He fucked up the first one, so they made him redo it. And everyone around him is just sitting there dumbfounded while he spews this garbage. It's become a wrestling meme.
Okay. So
anytime...
The numbers don't lie, you lose at sacrifice.
Yeah, and the numbers don't lie. They spell disaster for Lance Stroll if his father ever just mans up and sacks him, because there is no chance of him retaining that seat after next year.
No, it's crazy. It's genuinely crazy at this point where you're looking at someone with 200 and how many points?
206 points for Fernando.
206 points versus
74.
74 points. Where it's just like
not even a third.
Bro, most Red Bull drivers get fired for far less.
It's not even a third of Fernando's points. You know what I mean? Like, that's ridiculous. And it's got to the point where even Sky Sports F1 are questioning his position in the sport. It's only 27% of the points.
Just over a quarter.
Yeah. That's
just over
ridiculous.
A quarter. Yep. It's not acceptable for that team. That is a good racing team.
Especially with the start they had. What was it? 5 or 6 races in a row, Fernando was constantly on the podium.
And Lance was bumming ass around in like 5th, 6th, 9th, 11th, 12th.
Yeah. Barely getting out of Q1.
Yep.
Unacceptable.
A+ Fernando.
A+ for Fernando. Third.
I had Russell. And you had Lewis.
This is our first correct one. Lewis on 234 points came third. It's the only one we've got correct. Actually, you got first correct.
Yep. Which, honestly, shocking that you didn't. But anyway, we digress. Rating for Lewis, A.
He had a consistent season, and it shows. What was it? There was an interview between the 2019 rookies. It was George, Alex, and Norris having a little discussion, and they were quizzing them on their positions in the championship. And they asked about Mercedes, and they were like, "Oh, Mercedes, what are they coming?" And they told him it was a third. And Alex turned around and was like, "What is Lewis doing something this year?"
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Alex,
good job, Alex.
Burns Russell, and Russell has no comeback.
Fucking. Straight up, first of all, you're not allowed to shoot people on TV, Alex. Jesus Christ. Just put the weapons away. No, Lewis...
Consistent.
Had seemed to have moved, like had been given concessions that we are changing the car. It seemed to relax him. It allowed him to just do what he does best. Hop in the car and drive.
And he understood that after Saudi Arabia, I think Saudi Arabia was when the straw that broke the camel's back happened. He understood, all right, we're getting side pods. I think it was from Monaco onwards that they had those side pods. So from then onwards, he knew it was a testing season, and it was about developing other parts of the car that they couldn't physically develop this year. And still, 234 points is not something to scoff at. Lewis did a fantastic drive. He got a bunch of podiums. George only got one compared to him.
And that's really what we mean. As much as we like to hang shit on Lewis, we will never deny that he's seriously and will forever be in the contest for one of the greatest motorsport drivers of all time.
Oh, he is absolutely in that discussion.
And this is why. He's in a pretty rough car. His teammate is of equal pace, but not equal consistency. And he's just putting in the work every week. And he looks fucking cool while he does it. The way he interacts with the crowd is always beautiful. Like, there's so many positives about him. All the outreach work he does. What are you laughing at?
It's always a fantastic crowd when Lewis is on the podium. Doesn't matter where he is. It's a fantastic sight to see everyone here to support me.
You know what? Even though it's cliche for us, here's the thing, though. If we're sitting in them grandstands and Lewis is like, I'm so glad you're here, I'd be like, yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'd be stoked.
I get it.
I do feel bad about a lot of the things I've said about Lewis. I do genuinely like Lewis. It's just when he was dominant.
Oh, he was so frustrating.
It's the Max is going to get it from me now because Max is so frustrating. It's frustrating.
Yeah,
it's frustrating that he wins everything.
Oh, with ease.
My best race this year, 2 best races this year were Monaco because Fernando took it to him until the fucking rain hit. And if he'd have pitted 1 lap soon, when he pitted and put wets on, Fernando would have won Monaco. Like, there was no chance of Max getting past him. And then Singapore. Singapore was one of my favorite races because Max was nowhere near the front, so it was interesting. And he still drove his ass through the pack, which was enjoyable. Watching him struggle through the pack and still managing 5th and would have had Charles with 1 more lap.
Yep, absolutely. Let's move on to...
Second.
I had Charles.
I had Max.
You had Max.
it was Sergio. So at least I got the car right.
Okay, oh, if I can get the car right. It's so weird. So he's come second in what we could easily say is probably his worst performing season ever.
I think what I said in the 20-1 was correct. He had the pressure of Daniel. He had the pressure of Red Bull. And it finally got to him.
And the length of this season was another thing you threw in there too. Is like it's a long year.
It just got to him. And yeah, Sergio's pulled out 285 points. But he wasn't secure in second until like 3 races before the end of the season.
When he should have had every opportunity to just literally be by, let's say...
by the US when Lewis got disqualified.
Yeah, be like, hey, it's let's just end the season now. There's no way anyone's coming close to any of them. I tell you what, as much as it was disappointing to see him performing the way he did, it did add a little bit of spice and flavour to the season. So I am glad it happened because it added more storylines and more interest to the season.
What would you rate him?
I'm going to say a C.
Yeah, C. It wasn't the best.
You came second, can't knock that. You did your job well. You got the result that was required of you in the end, but it took you to the very end when your teammate had did it like 7 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think Max won it fucking the earliest anyone's ever won it. You know what I mean?
Yep. C, though, because even though there was mistakes and things like that, the pressure on him, he did have to, as it was getting close to Mexico, for example, right? It was a stupid move, but it was still the best choice he could have made in that spot because you know what? Yeah, you could have slowed down a minute, could have gone, could have fought for the points and things like that.
No, it was the dumbest thing he's probably done all season.
Yeah, but I can understand why.
You can't win a 71 lap race on lap 1. He is in the quickest car on the grid. He could have easily slowed down a bit, let those cars through, because guess what? 3 laps time, he's already passed them.
You are correct. I'm going along the lines of I can see why he felt in that split second that
to do that. Yeah, I understand that. I just think it was a really, really stupid move, and that's 100% on him. And I feel really bad for poor Charles, who was the other car in that incident, because
Charles didn't deserve that at all.
He didn't deserve what the Mexican fans gave him. It was not his fault. He did everything he fucking could
to avoid it. However, where I will give credit to Charles is how he handled himself in front of that crowd. That is exactly how you do it. Because he came in and said, guys...
I had nowhere else to go.
I had nowhere else to go. I'm sorry. We don't like doing this to each other. I apologize. And then he handed the mic back and left. That's how you do it. Because you know what? You're never going to convince a country's populace when you were involved in an incident that took out their one driver.
Yep.
They're going to hate you no matter what.
Especially in that country.
Yep. Because... And it's why we love going to Mexico, because it is just passion. Passion. They love what they love, and they love it so well. And, first of all, it's such an awesome track. You're racing through a baseball stadium. Genius. Whoever designed that, genius. Phenomenal.
Renee, when she sent it, she's like, why is it so like that? I'm like, that's a baseball stadium. She goes, what? And I'm like, yeah. That's where they race. They race in a baseball stadium.
It's cool. You know how in the US they're like, yeah, we're going to race around all these big landmarks, and they don't actually go near any of the landmarks. They're just near them.
Yeah. Like the Hard Rock Stadium?
Yep. In Mexico, they literally just went through the middle of the stadium, pull all the grass up, put the tarmac down. This is going to be sick.
And it was. And it always will be.
Love Mexico. And also shout out to the country of Mexico for some of the world's greatest culinary inventions, you guys.
Burritos are fantastic.
Burritos, Caesar salad, man. Like all these things that have come from Mexico are just so, so good.
I always thought Caesar salad was from Italy.
No, it was created in Caesar's restaurant in Mexico by Cesare, the owner of the restaurant, where he just threw together some ingredients to make a salad.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so you know,
the Mexican name, Caesar.
Because we say Caesar, which is a Latin pronunciation of Caesar. The German/English correct pronunciation is Kaiser.
Yep.
Same with, and Russian is Caesar or Tsar, and then in Mexico it's Cesare.
Cesare.
Yep.
Interesting.
And same with some Italians. So Cesare Borgia, one of the Borgias, was called Cesare Borgia in local dialect, but it's still all Caesar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Sorry, weird culinary deflection there. Fuck yeah. Number 1.
Well, you had.
I got one right. I picked Max.
And I picked Charles because going into the season, Charles and Charlotte had broken up. And I thought he was focused, and then he got another girlfriend. And Ferrari was Ferrari.
Yeah, I love how you're like, yeah, it's good. No, the big problem was the team he's racing for, bro.
Yeah.
However, I don't think it was a bad choice.
No, I genuinely thought, it's proven that if you've got focus, you normally you focus on it. But Charles just was in a Ferrari, and Ferrari was nowhere.
And when Charles looked good, damn, he looks good.
And also, Ferrari had so much potential going into the season. Like they did. Like they got a new team principal. Finally, we thought, oh, you know what? Getting rid of Mattia, probably a good call.
Yes,
but they're still going to get rid of everyone else, though.
Yeah, they probably got rid of one. The whole team needed to clean out. However, Fred has been a valuable addition to that team. He has brought stability and a quiet calmness that the team didn't have. Even though the results haven't gotten there, that appearance of competence, of we are moving in a direction, I'm falling for the marketing. It's working. Ferrari marketing is normally shithouse. So...
Yes, hold up 1 second. Right. There's one more thing. Ferrari has cleaned out someone else.
Oh, wait, hold on. Is this a strategist with a really weird name?
Laurent Macias.
Yeah, that's him. Lawrence Meeks.
Whatever his name is. He's replacing Franz Tost at AlphaTauri or whatever the fuck Racing Bulls. God help Racing Bulls.
I think it's going to be okay if Racing Bulls do one thing.
What?
And they don't let him talk to a strategist at all.
Yeah, I know, right? Like
you just let him run the other side of the business.
He was the sporting director at Ferrari. And now he's the team principal at AlphaTauri. Yeah. Fucking hell.
Laurent Meeks is his name.
Laurent Meeks, yeah. Oh, fucking hell. Every time I see him, I'm like, you're the reason.
Yeah. And was the other one Rueda, who was the actual
strategist? Rueda's the strategist.
Yep. It's look, I'm
so that's the other person they got to get rid of.
Yeah, I'm still having fun with Ferrari being top end, but not dominant. I do want to see them fighting for wins. I would love to see.
I'd like to see just two more teams fighting for wins consistently.
Yeah, that's all.
I just need two more teams that are consistently with the Red Bulls, because right now, Max gets a fucking A+ because he had the season of a lifetime. Like, there's never going to be a season like this again.
Max will actually be given the ranking of S.
Yeah, he is
an S. It was a special year. That's going.
No, I'm allowed to say it. I have autism.
Yeah, you know what? That's actually true. We do get a little bit of a tenure with it, don't we?
But then, like, yeah,
dude, seriously, like, it was just how many records did he break this year? I can't remember.
There's a fucking thing on it. Hold up.
It was like most race wins in a season ever. Most something else. Greatest of all time here.
Hold on, I'm searching. Here we go. I've got it.
What do we got? What did Max do this year?
Max has the most wins in a season, 19. Most podiums in a season, 21. Most points in a season, 575. Most laps led in a season at 1,003. Highest win percentage in a season, 86%. Highest percentage of laps led in a season at 75%. Most consecutive wins at 10. Most wins from poles in a season, which is 12. Most consecutive wins from pole in a season, 16. Biggest points gap between first and second at 290, which is, like I said, if he'd have started after the season break, he still wins the damn championship. Most consecutive races as championship leader, which is currently at 39 and still counting, by the way. Most consecutive points scored for a driver at 1,004. So this is gone back.
And when the most you can get in a weekend is 26.
Yeah, but this is going back further now. But also, he's got most consecutive top 2 finishes at 15. Where am I up to? Most hat-tricks in a season at 6. Most pit stops by the winning driver, 6. Only driver to win 3 times in one country in a season because he won all 3 US races. Highest average points per race at 13.9. Most races left in a season after securing the championship. So he's won it the earliest at 6 races to go. He broke the most curses in Formula 1 this season, and he's made the most records in a season in one season. It's unfathomable what this guy has done.
Like, yeah, it's...
Even at his most dominant, Lewis wasn't this good.
And that's the thing. That's a hard pill for some people to swallow, is that... And he's already, as you mentioned earlier, talking about putting it away and going and doing something else.
He's been talking about that for a while.
Like, it's just... you cannot get better than that year.
No.
That's it. That is one of the best years in sporting history you'll ever see. Phenomenal. S. Like, you
S
are in
tier.
a different class. A different class. It was, you made the year boring, but I tell you what, hopefully the other teams can match you because I don't want to see another one of it. Well done. Holy shit.
Formula
man.
1.5 shouldn't have 19 drivers in it.
Yeah. Yeah. 18.
Okay, so now we're on to the teams.
Okay, let's go through these a little bit quicker.
And we'll just give a quick rating.
Yep, because we covered a lot of it when we spoke about the drivers. So
But overall, I want a team rating
yeah,
as well.
overall, so we both put Williams in 10th.
Well, it was Haas with 12 points, D minus.
D minus for Haas. We've already spoken about that.
Yeah. 9th,
We both put Haas.
Alfa Romeo, F.
F for Alfa Romeo. Yep, they were one of the few teams to go genuinely and obtusely backwards. Like Haas
Yep.
took a step back.
These guys took a massive step back.
These guys, turned around and took a few steps.
8th.
I had AlphaTauri and you had McLaren.
You got this one correct. AlphaTauri came 8th.
There we go. I'm happy with that.
What did you rate AlphaTauri, though? I give them a D. D for the overall season.
D plus, only because they fixed their team midway through and started getting points. Maybe D plus because they did towards the end earn a little bit back. I think if they fixed it another 4 weeks ahead, they would have got C.
Well,
were
D
close.
for Daniel Ricciardo because they brought him back.
Yep, D for Danny. Then
7th.
7th, I had McLaren and you had AlphaTauri.
Williams. Williams gets a rating of C minus.
I'm going to say C plus.
I can't give him a C plus because it was only one driver that did well.
Valid. So let's settle on a C.
Yep.
For
6.
Calix Albon.
Calix Albon. 6.
6. We both put Aston.
Alpine. D.
D.
That they've taken a massive step
Yep.
backwards from last year.
Poorly led, poorly managed. We
They
don't
went
know who
from
the team
4th.
principal is.
They went from 4th to 6th.
Huge deficit.
Huge.
Huge
5th.
deficit. 5th, we both put Aston.
We both got that one correct. Aston came 5th. And we both just spoke about why. It was Lance's fault. So Aston overall,
It was hard because one driver got an A, one got an F, so I think we settle on a C, right?
yeah, I know,
C.
right? That's got to be a C. 4th.
C. 4th, I had Alfa Romeo, as did you.
Surely not. No, we didn't. We had Alpine.
After Aston, we both put Alfa Romeo. We thought they were the dark horse.
Yeah, but count how many teams are left. It's a 10.
2, 3, 4.
That's 5th that we... So we had Alfa Romeo at 5th and Aston at 6.
Oh, 6, yeah, sorry. 6, Alfa Romeo 5th.
Yes. So now we're up to 4th, which is Alpine. McLaren came 4th. A. 3rd.
I said Ferrari.
Correct.
You said Red Bull.
Wrong. Ferrari gets a C plus.
C, yep, C for me.
2nd.
I had Red Bull.
I had.
Merc.
Correct for me. Merc came 2nd by 3 points. 3 points in the end. Merc get a B.
Yep, I'm very happy with the B. Very
Yeah.
happy. Let down by one driver. The other driver did the best he could.
Yep.
And in first place, I had Merc and you had Ferrari.
Well, we're both wrong there. We must have been smoking something that day because Red Bull came down. S.
S.
There's no other rating for Red Bull.
So
Does-
Joe Perez had the worst year of his career and you guys broke every record. There you go.
Yeah, 860 points.
And what is the... So hold on.
So
What's the max amount of points you can... What is the total amount of points on offer for winning everything a year and how close were they?
I don't know. So there was 22 races.
Yep. Some of them are 26 points
No, that's 25.
plus fastest laps.
That's what I'm about to
Yep.
add. So 550 points you can get for fastest lap. There's 22. So then we plus 22. You can get 572 points. Sprints.
Sprint.
How many? There was 6 sprints.
Yep. And is it 8 points for winning a sprint?
Yeah. Plus. No. Why won't you let me plus? The max points one driver can get is 620.
And what Max get?
Max missed it by 45 points.
Like...
Also, Red Bull came 1st and 2nd. If you divide it in 2. Max won the Constructors' Championship on his own. That just shows you how good that car was this year. The RB19 will go down in history as the single greatest Formula 1 car
Ever designed.
ever designed.
Ever designed. And do you know what's scary? Racing Bulls are buying it for next year.
Yeah.
They're getting a chassis to redesign.
It's because they've got the aero that they've got to do themselves, isn't it? Yeah.
Very few parts. And here's how you're going to do your aero next year. What you didn't do this year is look at the Red Bull car and go, let's just ape that as much as we can. Because even if we only get it to 75% of what they had, that's
way better.
Way better than where we're at. Overall, boring year. But when we start to break it down and look at individual performances, individual storylines, very involved year for a lot of people.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's just been one of those years.
Absolutely, man. I think it's been fantastic.
There's just one thing we haven't talked about, and that was your prediction at the start of the year.
Oh, is this my prediction I've made every year?
Yeah, they hugged at Abu Dhabi.
It's as close as I think we're going to get to the kiss that I've been predicting for years.
Toto and Christian gave each other a hug and shook hands.
Do
we think the rivalry's dead? Or do we think the next time the Mercedes are up there, it's just as heated?
Oh, 100% it will be heated. I think those two guys, really, when we look at it, we've seen some great driver rivalry pairings. Toto versus Christian has been the best team principal rivalry pairing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
They are.
Second only to Cyril and Christian.
You know what? Here's the thing. This is why we love Christian Horner so much. It doesn't matter who he's talking to. He'll be a bitch about it.
Oh, yeah.
He absolutely will be. One of my favorite photos of the year is that I'm a hardcore Christian shirt. On the front, on the back, it says Horner hater.
Yep.
Hardcore Christian Horner hater.
That's great.
A hug, I will take half points on that as a prediction because I tell you what, I didn't think those two were going to be allowed in a room together anymore after the last couple of years. And it turns out that they're all okay.
After the change of fucking car meme.
That was the best edit I have ever seen on the Las Vegas Film of my life.
No. There was one better.
What was the better one?
The Gorlock Dome, where they put Gorlock the Destroyer on.
Oh, yeah, that was fucking good.
Because it made it look normal.
Yeah, it was a great perspective, actually, now that you say. Yep, what a crazy year of F1. Again, just mental.
Yeah.
Tiring.
I'm very tired.
I'm very tired.